right, Alabama with a 41-34 win over Georgia. Quite an amazing game. I'll tell you that right now. Quite an amazing game. A great win for Alabama. And we're going to see what this means from here on out. It's quite late in the day, or in the night, so I'm trying to halfway get away from everybody else and talk about this game. It was about as bad of a first half as you could get for Georgia, getting down 32 to or 30. I don't even know what the score was. See, 30-7. I mean, it was impossible to come back from that, and yet you could feel at the end of the game that Georgia was going to score. And then when they got up 34-33, missed on the 2-point conversion. Not that it would have made a difference necessarily. There were some 2-point conversions that I got all that. That made plenty of sense to me. But yeah, they just lost the game in the first half. I mean, you can't get down 28-0 and really expect to come back and win. I thought Carson Beck, as bad as he played, nearly won them the game. And if you want to call it bad, I mean, it was just a tough night. 27-50, 3 interceptions. He had the fumble, which was tough. I mean, Jalen Miller looked like he was the best player in college football. 27-35, 27-33, 374 yards, an interception, which I don't know if that was on him necessarily. He wasn't sacked. Milroe, he had 374 yards passing. He had 117 yards rushing. We talked about this before the game. If Jalen Milroe, if the game's about Jalen Milroe, that can go one way or the other. It can be this is a big, huge win for Alabama, or it can not go well for them. That happens too. But tonight, that was exceptional. He was exceptional. Now Ryan Williams helped make him exceptional. Ryan Williams was unbelievable. And with that said, Georgia probably should have won this game at the end. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but it sounds ridiculous. But if you were in the stadium, you could feel Bryant Denny tensing up hard. And, on that play where I'll try to put it on the screen, Carson, that the last pick, I would have to look at it and see a little better. But he told us after the game he was just trying to throw it up to his huge receiver, 6'8", 6'7" receiver, whatever it was. And the kid from Alabama just made a great play on the ball. I mean, that's just what happened. They won the game, and that was it for that. Let me see if I can get it on the screen. Yeah, there's the play. So Brown made a very good play. I think it was first down, 45 seconds were left in the game. It felt like Georgia was going to come down to tie it, send it to overtime. I wonder if they'd have gone for two. I don't know. But I thought it was an exceptional game. I think in the first half, it looked like Georgia was not going to was getting killed. They were getting crushed. It was amazing. I've never seen something like that. I have. When Georgia played Ole Miss over there in 2016, this was similar to that. When they played uh, the first half in this game was similar to the second half of Auburn in 2017. Jalen Miller was very excited after the game. And the other thing, too, is the reaction from Kirby and company was a strong one for the players on his team. I can't remember who it was. I've got it on video. I cannot remember who it was that he was saying, you know, it- so Colby Young was crying after the game. Understandably, I think, I don't get upset. I mean, I think that's what happens. When you're out there trying to do everything you can to win a football game and you feel like you failed, that's me putting words in his mouth, but he didn't. I mean, this was just an exceptional game between two really good teams, and Alabama played the better first half by 4 touchdowns, and Georgia was just trying to come back. Had they lost by 7, which they did, but like had they just not taken the lead at all, I think there would have still been positive things about it. But I don't think either of these two should take out of this that there was some definitive thing decided tonight, because it doesn't feel like that. It felt like that at the half. It felt like Georgia had no business being on the field because they didn't. And Kirby's got to do a better job with that. And here's my Kirby lecture. This is a guy who has, uh, I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than demanded certain things. He's got them from the university and from, everybody else, the fundraising and so forth. And to come out and get down 28 nothing, that's just not okay. And, it's just not okay. Kirby had a tough night tonight. I'm going to put him on the screen. I mean, like, he had a tough night. I mean, like it was just one of those nights. They were not going to get calls at all, and they didn't. There was a bizarre pass interference. That wasn't. There were plenty of them that just weren't called, and you're like, they're just not going to call it tonight, man. Like they are just not going to call it. And here's his reaction on the 2-point play that they scored. They took it away. Here's pass interference that they didn't call, and he said to me, "You're telling me that's not pass interference?" I mean, it just look. It doesn't matter now, but in the moment, it wasn't important. Those were important moments in the game, but you can't get down 28 nothing. That's the moral of the story here. When you outscore the other team, uh, what is this? Something to 11, 27 to 11, then maybe just don't get down by such a you know margin. I mean, they completely outplayed Alabama in the second half. They just didn't outplay them the same way that Alabama outplayed them. I mean, the three that again, and I can look it up as I go here, but I keep pretty tenuous notes on these things. You're not going to win football games where you turn the ball over 4 times. And I will tell you the last time that Georgia has done that in the last 15 years, and I think the answer is probably going to be never, but I will look it up nonetheless. And, part of it was that Carson was slinging it, you know, and it just was what it was. But boy, there was in the fourth quarter, Georgia just it felt like they totally owned it until that play. It felt like the last team with the ball was going to win, but that didn't happen, right? Well, the last team with the ball did win, which was Alabama, but um, it was just says these two teams just cannot stay away from each other in these wild games. They cannot stay away from one another with wild games, and I'm trying to look still here for this turnover margin. So Georgia was negative, let me see. Georgia today was negative. So I should probably look this up before I got on with y'all, but like you had 3 interceptions and a fumble. Alabama had an interception. So they were -3. Yeah. So Georgia was -3 and -3 games or worse since 2010. They have won one of those games, which was the 2022 Florida game. They are 1-6 in those games. And Kirby Smart is 1-1. No, well, now he's lost this one, so 1-2. So the South Carolina game, they were -4, if I'm not mistaken. The Florida game in 22, yeah, Mark Richt's teams in 15, 13, 11, and 10. Those were all massive turnover games. If Georgia probably, just being honest, if they turn the ball maybe over one fewer time, they very well are sitting in overtime. But so there's a lot of different ways to look at this. I mean, Kirby he seemed frustrated to me, which I understand. Um, I don't, I don't know. I mean, after a while, when someone's got your number, they've got your number, and they've got, he's just, they've got his number, period. Alabama's got Kirby Smart's number, Social Security, all that stuff. And had they stolen this game tonight, which they were about to do, had they stolen this game tonight, I don't know if this would make a difference. Now, the other thing moving forward here that's kind of I don't know about concerning, but it's a new world. Is these offensive coaches are coming hard right now. So you've got Sark, Lane, Kalen DeBoer, and then Josh Heupel up at Tennessee, and these like sort of shootouts. You know, Georgia's going to have to win them sometimes. And tonight, I thought, the offense was not, nothing was good in the first half. Nothing. So, um, can you go out and play like you did in the second half the next time you play Alabama, if there is a next time? It's also completely permissible for Georgia to play their best game against Alabama rather than the other way around. I mean, the first half was as well as Alabama could play, just period. The second half was not. Now they did it. I mean, there were some mistakes. Jalen Milroe was not running the clock down. There were things that were not they did not do well. And the next time that will probably go different. They will be better at that, I would imagine. But he was snapping the ball, trying to milk the clock away. When there was like 7 minutes in the game, they were snapping the ball with 12 seconds left on the play clock, or 4 minutes, I think it was. They were snapping the ball with like 12, 15 seconds on the play clock. I mean, and throwing in completions. I mean, it was just saving time for Georgia. It made no sense to me, but that was bad, I thought. But will these two teams play again? I don't know. Um, I only know the early games, and some of the late. I mean, Ole Miss losing today was, I mean, 50% predictable, 50% just Kentucky's defense being really good. Um, I think Clemson won. I don't know how much they won by. I know that Tennessee, I guess, is given a gimme games. This was the game. I mean, Alabama folks told me that this is the most people they've ever had in media capacity at a game. They Everybody couldn't get in the press box. It was just, or downstairs, not the press box. It was just, it's a big game, and if they play again, it will be the same way. It just won't be in Tuscaloosa. Now, did that matter? Yeah, it did matter, and that's the reason why the home team, usually wins. But Georgia had their chance to win this game, and just didn't do it. And it's up to them for the next time to do that. Now, Jalen Morrow was very excited, and I understand that, but every everybody's got to understand that this is game one, and there may or may not be a game two. I don't know, but it will not be in Tuscaloosa. It will either be in Atlanta or any other place in the world, and then possibly in Atlanta again. So, or well, I should say Atlanta, and then anywhere else, or Atlanta. I mean, we don't know, but Alabama definitely looks like the best team in the country right now. And Texas struggled. They did not look good. Oklahoma and Auburn, that was a mess of a game. The Ole Miss game was a mess. But this game here, these two, there is some sort of I don't know. I would use the term excellence in a way. I mean, they're the best two programs in college football. All due respect to Ohio State. I I think the way that Georgia played at the end of this game is going to honestly give them confidence for the next time they play Alabama. I do think there's more that Bryant Denny can do in terms of audio and like in terms of game day stuff. My opinion, comparatively speaking to other places I've seen in the league, do a better job. Just in my opinion, South Carolina, Auburn, Auburn does an elite job of creating home field. This was good. It wasn't as good as I expected, to be honest. But I know that doesn't really matter that much. But I'm just saying. But and then with Trump here, man, like it was so difficult getting into the stadium, and it took us 2 hours to get into the stadium. We were here 3.5 hours early, and we just it was just a total mess. The perimeter, I mean, that's another story for another time. But if we never have another presidential candidate president at a football game that Georgia plays in, I'll be happy because it's just not worth the trouble for me, and I don't think for any. I mean, the people that were outside the stadium were. It was just it was not well handled by whoever it was, Alabama, TSA, whatever. I mean, we were going through airport line. And we had bags. They wouldn't let us go. We had to go from one side of the stadium to the other side of the stadium. Then we had to get the dogs and all this stuff. And it's just like, just tell us where we're supposed to go. Give us 2 days warning of exactly where we're supposed to go. And make sure that Secret Service knows, make sure that TSA knows, and make sure there's a designated gate for media. so that, and when we have giant bags with cameras that they're looking through, that we can just go into the stadium. It was not well handled. But I thought Georgia, you know, the game was there to be won and they didn't win it. And this is what happens in sports. But the chest thumping or chest beating that will come from Alabama world, that's great and that's fine. But I mean, um, these two playing multiple times in a season didn't work out so hot for Alabama last time. And in fact, the last time they played, they beat Georgia worse. So that was 2001. That was a heck of a Georgia team. Don't get me wrong, but this Alabama team is about two players. It's about Williams and Milroe. It's those two guys, and they are that dangerous that they can beat you because of the quarterback being their best running back is extremely problematic. I do not want guys getting hurt, but we're talking about a 17 game college football season. Jalen Milroe's got to be load managed, and this guy's exceptional. I don't want to hear about Travis Hunter. He's really good. He's not this guy. This guy's going to get his team to the national championship playoff. Travis Hunter's really good. He's exceptional and all that, but he's not affecting the game every single offensive snap. No, it's not. It's not the same. It's not the same. No offense. These guys are both great, but Milroe was exceptional. And then Carson Beck nearly threw Georgia right back into that. He did. He threw them right back into the game, and they threw a pick at the end. I don't know. I didn't see the play. I just saw the end of the play, and I don't hate it, but I don't know the situationally. I can't recall if it was a first down. There was 45 seconds left. It felt like Georgia couldn't do anything wrong at that moment, and they were flying down the field. And I think that they need to learn from this. I think that today, for me, you know, Georgia may lose one more game, but I'm not sure they will. The Texas game looks totally winnable. The Tennessee game, coming to Athens, that's going to be challenging for Tennessee. And then Ole Miss, Ole Miss can't play like they did today and reasonably expect to be in the playoff, frankly. So we'll just see how this goes. Georgia will fall in the rankings from 2 to like 6 or 5 or whatever, but they didn't do any damage to themselves, truthfully, tonight. It just wasn't like that. So I'm going to wrap it up. It's about 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to try to go get some food somewhere along the way back to Birmingham. Georgia lost this game in the first quarter, and Kirby's got to do a better job of getting them ready. I don't know how to do that. It's not something I have the first idea how to do, but he does, and he needs to do that. Too often this season, they've been flat coming out, and that first half was bad. And it was, if there's a standard, that was substandard for sure. Okay, check us out online. Make sure you're signing up for a newsletter. Thanks for watching.